Bad bills can't be made better. Bad bills need to be stopped. Bad bills need to be ITL'd. So help us in that cause. As we're going to move along to another legislative warrior, shorter than most, but doesn't make her any less scary, Emily Sandblade, who I had the pleasure of meeting a couple of years ago and getting to know, is a physicist and an engineer by training, and a legislative bulldog by avocation. She sits on the committee with Laura Jones, the ones who helped kill, or at least stop the bleeding on 1589. And I'd like you to welcome Emily Sandblade to the podium. Emily?
That's great. Of course, sometimes I have to ask, how low can you get this? I want to thank everyone who participated in our recent fight to defeat HB 1589. We had tremendous public support. We had people calling, writing, harassing in a few cases, which, okay, various representatives, and it really turned the tide for us. The bill would have required registration of almost all private firearms sales, and it would have, in effect, taken us a big step closer to a national registry. It's an evil bill. The authors of this bill told us that making it harder to get firearms would lower domestic violence. What they did not tell us was that firearms are used more often by the victims in domestic violence situations to defend themselves than they're used by the perpetrators. These opponents of the Second Amendment know that personal firearms have the reputation as the great equalizer. They enable women to defend themselves in life-threatening situations against assailants that are undoubtedly bigger and stronger than they are. The women who die as a result of rapist attacks or domestic violence usually don't count to the victim disarmers, since those women are usually beaten to death, strangled, or knifed. Oddly enough, those who would limit our access to the means of self-defense count the cases where a woman shoots her attacker as gun violence. Well, yes, they do. Most of them. By including in the statistics those engaged in criminal activity and using that to disarm potential victims, gun controllers morally condone the abuse, rape, and murder of women. To them, there is more morality when a woman is beaten to death by an abuser than there is in a victim who stops that abuse. The war on the Second Amendment is part of the real war on women. Anyone who prevents a woman from obtaining the means to defend herself and her children is waging a war on women. Anyone who promotes the lie that real women don't need firearms is waging a war on women. Anyone who tries to make it harder for a woman to defend herself in a domestic violence situation is waging a war on women. Those who are waging this war were not stopped by the defeat of HB 1589. They will be trying again in the next 2 weeks to add the same objectionable text of HB 1589 to other bills. I'm asking everybody here to please continue your activism. Help us to defeat this zombie legislation again. And this summer and fall, please do everything you can to defeat those representatives who are conducting the real war on women and on the Second Amendment. I want to thank every one of you for your help, your courage, and your persistence in preserving our lives and our liberty.